ready.
Welcome to another episode of Buff in the Rough. Have you ever wondered what it takes to win a national level competition hunt? What it's like to be stalked by a black bear? Or how hilly it is in central West Virginia? We'll answer those questions and more with the help of Jacob Haught. Help me welcome Jacob to the program. Well, hey Jacob, how are you doing?
Hey, not too bad.
Well, I am so happy to have you on. I've had you on my list for a while to talk to, and I don't know a lot about you. So this is going to be really good for me too. I'm going to learn a lot, but I know everybody else is going to learn too. But before I get into my questions, for those folks that may not know Jacob Haught, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and maybe how you got into rabbit hunting?
So, my dad, Tracy Haught, he has rabbit hunted, his whole life. He competition hunted a lot back in the 90s. Got out of it for a little bit. My brother and I got into sports, got into wrestling, stuff like that. He got out of it, and it just kind of fell off. And then whenever everybody graduated and everything like that, we started getting dogs back, and he started getting back into the competition scene. And I just slowly started going with him and experiencing it, and thought this is something that I'm going to like. And it's been a fun few years, that's for sure.
And so you credit your dad probably for getting you into it?
Oh, most definitely, okay. Yeah.
Well, tell us about wrestling. So, where did you go to? Did you wrestle in, like, all the way coming up through school? How's that go? Did you wrestle in high school or middle school? Or?
Yeah. I started in middle school and wrestled middle school and high school. And then, like I said, my brother, he started wrestling in middle school too, wrestled through middle school, high school, and up into college. And I think he graduated in 2017, and that's about the time we started getting dogs again and started trying to get back into things.
So for folks in the South, it's the same thing as wrestling, except this is actually organized and it's like a Greco-Roman style wrestling, and you keep points and all that kind of stuff. It's not. You're not talking about wrestling like I'm going to date myself if I'm not careful. Ric Flair kind of wrestling and jumping off the top rope and all that.
No, not that kind of wrestling.
Were you any good? Did you win any?
I was not any good.
And honest enough to admit it. I appreciate that.
That's right.
Well, who's been the biggest influence on you so far? I mean, if it's your dad, could you tell us about that?
So, this is a big thing, and I guess I didn't realize it when I was young, but he's always tried to instill, hey, if you're going to do something, you need to do it to the best of your ability. And like we just said about wrestling, I did not take that serious. But once it come to getting dogs, you'll not find anyone more picky about a dog than my dad. And we probably let some pretty darn good dogs go because of how picky he is. And I'm to the point now I'm probably just as bad. But not just, there's him. He, like I said, he's the one that goes with me. We go a lot. He travels with me a lot to the hunts. But there's a lot of other people that have been a part of it. Justin Schaefer. Him and I are kennel partners.
Okay.
He's entrusted me with dogs. He's been a big part in this too. We did not know Justin at all. And Dad met him one day at a Ritchie County Beagle Club hunt, and he's like, hey, you want to handle a dog? Dad's like, well, I don't really know its bark. And he's like, well, you'll figure it out after they bark a couple times. And just ever since then, Justin's been really, really good to us. There's a man named Winnie Sennett. Winnie's been around in the Beagle world for a long time. He won the world hunt, I believe, back in either the late 90s or early 2000s. But one thing about Winnie, there's a guy told him one time, Winnie does a lot of judging because, like I said, he's been in the sport for a long time. But there's been guys that tell Winnie, they said, the reason you don't win so much is because you're too honest. And that's kind of something that stuck with me when I've heard people say that and I hear Winnie say that, because that's kind of what I want to be. You know what I mean? That's something to look up to.
I love it.
But if somebody tells you, hey, you don't win because you're honest, you're a pretty good guy.
That's a compliment. Well deserved.
That is definitely a compliment. And I, honestly, when he does not care if he wins again, he's going to do things the right way. Mm-hmm. And that's something to look up to. There's other guys that are part of our kennel now. You got me, of course, my dad, Justin Schaefer. You got Scotty Miller, Keaton Hamburger, and Phil Arnold. We just all kind of run each other's dogs. We help each other out, and it would be nothing for us to each have each other's dog and be running and go to hunt and and all four of us draw each other. So we just kind of got together and said, hey, we're just going to become one kennel and do it that way.
Now, does everybody keep their own, like, kind of kennel name, or are you under one name, or everybody?
So for right now, because all the dogs that we've got are titled, so right now they're all in our own names. But that is something that we've talked about, like putting them all in under one kennel name. But for right now, like most of our dogs, we can't change their names.
Gotcha. But
it's nothing for if Scotty called me right now and said, hey, I'd like to borrow this dog for a couple weeks. I want to take it somewhere. We'd swap dogs out. Justin does it all the time. Justin will call me and say, hey, I want Tux and Bougie. And I said, all right. So we just swap dogs.
Well, I'll tell you, there's a lot of advantages to having a team.
There really is.
I mean, could you talk about that for folks that maybe don't understand those advantages, especially as you're competition hunting, that if you have a group of guys kind of working together, it can be very helpful. This is not the only advantage, but one of the big advantages of it is the cost expense. If you're teaming up with say the four of us want to go to a hunt, and we all split gas and a room, and it cuts the cost of things down tremendously. Well, hey, I'm all about that. Inflation these past 4 or 5 years have been just terrible in this country as a whole.
Not only that, but if you can surround yourself with a good team, right there, you got good dogs, you got a good team. Not only that, but we can breed each other's dogs. We can figure out what works as far as a cross or something like that, so that we can try to better ourselves.
Do your teammates call you and ask you questions about the rules? Hey, I was at this hunt and this happened.
They probably don't call. They don't call me, but I definitely ask them questions. We've got a group text with Justin, Scotty, Keaton, and myself, and we talk about stuff all the time.
Mm-hmm. Now, who's got the best dog between y'all?
Oh man, I don't know. I reckon we just have to all four get together one day and run it off.
That's a good, safe answer. So I forgot to ask you when you're talking about yourself, but could you tell us a little bit about what part of the country you're in and maybe what the hunting conditions are like where you are, and what kind of dog do you need to be successful there?
So I live what I would say is more like central West Virginia. It's Calhoun County, West Virginia. There's really nothing in our county. So when people ask where we're from, we just say Calhoun County. Mm-hmm. We're an hour from everything. But as far as running conditions go, we're in on a lot of hunting leases, or on a few, and they're clear cuts, and that have grown up for the past 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years. And we hunt those. Farmland, if we can find the farmer that's got steep land where he's running these cows, but he can't brush hog, we're going to go talk to that guy every chance we get. It's pretty steep here where we're at. We have a lot of hills. So we always joke and say that our dog's legs are shorter on one side than the other from running around the side of a hill.
Yeah.
A lot of times when I'm in those clear cuts, I try to get at the top of them, cut them loose, and I can sit or walk around, stand, however, at the top of the hills and watch it down over, and I can see what's going on.
So it's pretty thick there, is what it sounds like, where you're hunting on those cuts. Yeah.
Very.
So you need a dog that'll get in there. I mean, not one that's going to kind of walk around and wait for somebody else to do it. You got to have one to jump in the briars.
You need a dog that's going to go and go get you one. Mm-hmm. And up until this year, this year I've seen more rabbits in our area than I have in probably 3 or 4 years. But you need a dog that doesn't care, that's just going to go find your rabbit, whether he finds it at 50 yards or he finds it at 500 yards.
Oh, wow. They've got to really get in there and hunt. I mean, that's pretty deep for a little old beagle.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But, and honestly, when I got Tux, he would do that. But the longer I have had him, the more he understands, like, all right, I'm going to hunt this cove, I'm going to hunt this right here. And if there's nothing here, I need to move on. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it does take a while. I mean, and I am big on this. I do not want to go during the prime time. I don't want to go in the morning, and I don't want to go late at night. I want to go when they've got to jump a rabbit. I want them, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I get home from work, we're going to turn them loose. Go find one. Mm-hmm.
That just makes them better. Gives them that drive. They can't depend on luck as much. Well, I want to ask you one question about the kind of dog you need to be successful there. How important is volume? Like, I mean, you're up there in those hills and hollers. Sometimes they can be right around the corner. You can't hear them. I mean, so do you value like a big mouth, or does it matter?
That is important, and really the only time that is important to me is, say we are competition hunting and the dogs get out there and you need to hear it barking. Other than that, I don't care, because I can move. I'll move. I'll follow. I'll not walk in the brush with them, but I'll be up in a road and I'll just stay somewhere to where I can hear them if they've not got huge mouths. Mm-hmm. But I know there's a lot of guys out there that I've heard that are, hey, we're getting rid of a really good dog because we don't like its mouth. Mm. I don't care what it sounds like. If it'll do the job, it's fine with me.
Okay. Well, you mentioned a dog named Tux, and for those listeners out there, especially folks that are following UKC this year, he's doing pretty well. I understand maybe he's in that top 10 or so ish dogs in the kind of that nationals race. And that, did he win the UKC Grands this year at the Nationals? I mean, that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah. So this year I did win, or he did. We won the UKC Grand National Championship. That makes he just actually turned 4 last week, but that makes the 3rd time he's been in the finals at Nationals. As a 1-year-old, he was in the Junior National Finals. As a 2-year-old, he was in the Grand National Finals, and then this year, as a 3-year-old, he was in the Grand National Finals, and I finally pulled it off.
Well, tell us about him. I mean, how did you end up with Tux? A little bit about his background, maybe his breeding, his pedigree, if you know that, want to share it. But also, just what kind of dog is he? What does he look like, sound like, hunt like? I mean, what makes him so competitive that even as a 1-year-old he was competing at the highest level?
So the dog cares nothing about anything but hunting and jumping a rabbit. Before I got him, Dad said, hey, you need to figure out what kind of dog you want. And that's not something that I thought about, I don't guess. Mm-hmm. But he thinks about that. And I'm like, I want a rabbit dog. I want one that's going to win. He's like, yeah, but there's more to that. And I guess I didn't think about it. But whenever I got him, so how it started is Justin called me and he said, hey, I got this young dog named Tux. He said, you want to take him and run him for a month or so and see if you guys would be interested in getting him. And if not, you guys just run him for me and we'll go take him to hunts. And I said, well, sure, I'll try him out. So I soloed the dog every day for a month. Mm-hmm. And finally, we went to a pro hunt. And like I said, he was only probably, this would have been a PKC pro hunt or ABC pro hunt. But he was probably only about 16, 17 months old at the time. And went out there, and of course I had no idea the rules of PKC or any of that. And I lost, which that doesn't bother me. But I told Justin, I'm like, I really think the dog would have won if it had been a UKC hunt. He's like, well, what's up? I was like, we jumped 3 rabbits, but those were the only 3 that we didn't see or score lines on.
Wow.
And I said, and we jumped one other rabbit and we scored a line, and that's how the dog won. And he's like, okay, so yeah. So we talked about it on and off. So on our way home, he's like, so you want to buy him or what do you want to do? And he said, let's just go partners. And at that time, I knew Justin pretty well, but I didn't know if I wanted to have a half a dog with anybody, if that makes sense.
Well, it makes total sense. It's been the end of many relationships over dog partnerships.
Well, and he would have never done it. But if in my opinion, if somebody owns half the dog, they can sell that half to whoever they want, and you don't know who you're getting partnered with then.
Yeah.
But now that I know Justin the way I do, he would have never done that.
Mm-hmm.
I told him, I said, well, I'll just double the price, and I'll just buy him straight out if that's fine. So we worked it out, and needless to say, so I bought him off of him, and I told Dad, I said, I don't know what kind of dog I want, but I like this thing. And he said, well, and then it's the funny story behind it. He said, I'll tell you what, he said, this dog will win hunts. I said, okay. He said, now I don't know that you bought a national champion or a world champion or anything like that, but you bought a dog that'll go and compete, that you always have a chance with winning. Mm-hmm. There's never a chance where you're going to think, well, if I don't stand a chance in this cast, he's like, that dog right there, stand a chance every time. I said, okay. I just kept soloing him, and got to the point where I probably soloed him a little too much because dogs would be running and he could care less. Mm-hmm. And I thought, oh no, I'm not careful, I'm going to ruin this dog. So I got to where I started bracing him, and pretty much I'll only solo or brace. There are times in the winter if somebody wants to go and hunt, we'll drop 4 dogs or something. But I'm not one of those guys that drops a pack of dogs every time we go and turn loose. And not that, and honestly, it would not hurt this dog at all. Like I said, he's a 4-year-old dog now. You're not going to change him. Mm-hmm. But when they're young like that, I feel like solo and brace is what you've got to really, really put on them. Well, I know you asked a little bit about his breeding, his pedigree. Yeah. He is out of Black Butcher and a dog named Dora. And the Dora, of course, most people have heard of the Black Butcher dog.
Yes.
There's not many people that haven't heard of that dog. But the Dora dog belongs to a man named Pete Salone. And Justin had a dog off of a cross out of that dog, and we really liked it. And Tux is out of the same female, but out of Butcher. Mm-hmm. And I told Dad, I said, hey, we want a dog out of that, so let's try to do this. And I think Justin is right. He said that you could breed that Dora dog to a German Shepherd and it would make a rabbit dog. Mm-hmm. And I don't think he's wrong. We've got a 9-month-old pup out of her right now that is doing amazing. But I think a lot of the breeding has to do with the female. You've got to breed you've got to have something good to breed to. And Pete has a great female, and it works.
Well, I tell you, it's really impressive. There's those kind of the goose that lays the golden eggs. Every once in a while, you just can run across a female or male that just seem to be prolific breeders. They just breed as good or better than themselves, is, the goal, I guess. But they just, like you said, you can make crosses, out crosses, line breed, whatever you want to do. They're throwing great dogs, and so it sounds like that was one of them for sure. Well,
for sure.
Well, now you've hunted this dog. You hunt him all over the place, and it sounds like maybe you've tried some different registries and have been certainly successful at very high levels. Is there anything you do to prepare for a hunt? I mean, do you solo more? Do you brace more? I know you said that's like your favorites, but do you have like a formula to your success that you want to share? Maybe you don't want to share it.
I don't know that there's any secret formula to it. You got to start with a good base, and you got to start with a good dog. And I got lucky on that part. Mm-hmm. When the competitions are going on every single weekend, I very rarely miss a day of running. Like I said, I'll take one as soon as I get home from work. Leave the house between 4 and 4:30, and I will run one for about 2 hours. And I'll come home and I'll drop it back in the kennel, and I'll pick up the next one and I'll go run it till dark. Then they might drop 2 days brace. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Then I might go back to solo on them. Every now and then I get chewed out by Justin and my dad because I don't like to give them a break, and that's just as important as running them every day. Mm-hmm. I don't know why I do this. My dad convinced me to do this, but every year since I got Tux, to prepare for the McVeigh hunt, it was always in September. In September. But to prepare for it, I'll run the Beagles through 2 days, the whole month of August. I'm sorry.
Wow.
August up until the hunt, and that is I get up at 3:30 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and I try to have them loaded and out of here by 3:30, and I try to have them picked back up in time to get back here by 6 so I can leave for work. And then I'll go work all day. Then I'll come home, and then I'll drop them again that night and run them for 2 to 4 hours of an evening. And in the mornings when I'll solo them, because it's cool and everything, I'll solo them in the morning, mm-hmm. and then in the evening I'll brace them, because in that evening heat I want them to push each other. Mm-hmm. I don't want one to get lazy. Mm-hmm. And I've had some success at the McVeigh hunt. Not saying that that's what did it, but it seems like Tux strives in the warmer weather, because he doesn't care that it's hot. He'll just go, and mm-hmm. he'll go jump a rabbit, and that's what I like.
Well, it sounds like you're a big fan of soloing a dog. Why? Why do you think that's so important?
One, it makes them do the work. It makes them do the work. They're not hanging back and being lazy and waiting for another dog to jump the rabbit. Where I live, like I said, there are more rabbits this year than there has been, mm-hmm. but there are not very many rabbits. You have to have a jump dog. You've got to have a dog that will go and find a rabbit. And one thing I absolutely hate, and my dad hates it too, is a follower. We won't own a follower. It can be the fastest dog you've ever seen. It can steal every strike from your jump dog. But if it is a follower, my dad is probably going to send it down the road. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because he cannot stand that. And then honestly, I don't like it either. And if you solo them, that keeps that part away from them. They have no chance to follow somebody. Mm-hmm. The only time you're going to see a dog is at a hunt, or if I brace you a little bit. Gotcha. And honestly, the 2 dogs we've only got 2 competition dogs right now. We got a couple pups, but we've got 2 competition dogs right now. And if I dump them down together, they're going to go opposite directions. Mm-hmm. And I like that.
Okay. Well, you've been around the country. You've hunted different registries, hunted different styles of dogs, probably, or against different styles of dogs. Can you tell us about some of the most impressive dogs you've seen in the past few years?
Yeah. So there are some dogs that I have not actually in person seen. There are a few that I have not run with. Mm-hmm. And one of them that is really shining in UKC this year is the Heat 'em Up Cyanide dog. Mm-hmm. They call her Cindy. And she, I guess, is a machine. Mm-hmm. And I have never run with her. She wins a lot, and that is a dog I'd love to go watch. I'd love to draw her out. Not by no means am I saying, hey, I think I can beat that dog. I'm not, mm-hmm. but I'd like to see that dog work. The Butlers out in Michigan.
Gotcha.
They have got some really nice dogs. I believe it's Nova and Jody B and a 5-star dog, mm-hmm. and they're all 3 litter names.
Wow. And
they are some nice. They are nice. Actually, at Nationals this year, I beat Brock in the semis with, I believe he had the Jody B dog, and then I run against Nate, his dad, mm-hmm. in the finals, and he was running the Nova dog. Mm. Both of those 3 dogs that the Butlers own are really, really nice. There's some brothers up in Ohio, Elias brothers, Wyatt and Zach. They're the 2 that go to the hunts the most. They've each got really nice dogs. A Bodacious and he calls it Rise of the Phoenix. Her name's Little. Both of those dogs, they're great. I actually go and run with them some, and when rabbit season's in Ohio, and man, is it a lot of fun. Wyatt, he runs the Bodacious dog, and his dog will whimper or squeak before it opens, and so does a Tux. And he jokes around all the time. He's like, "Yep, I'm still in every Tux whimper today." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, you're gonna get me today." And anytime a dog whimpers and he strikes, I'm like, "Are you sure that wasn't Tux?" Just messing with one another, and we get a big kick out of that. Just messing with one another. Not only those are a few of the dogs. Keaton Hamburger, like I said, he's one of the guys that were the so-called teammates, as what I refer to it as, teammates. He's got a dog named Boomer, and actually Boomer and Tux are full litter mates. Oh. And that dog is a nice one. He's a hunting machine too. He is a hunting machine. You've got Scotty. Scotty Miller's got two nice young dogs, a Casey and a Rip. Both of them are really nice. Phil's got a Pearl dog, and last year Phil was winning left and right with that dog. He might, I think in 1 year he took her from registered all the way up to Grand 2, maybe pushing Grand 3 in a year. And then work got in the way this year, and he's just not been able to go to hunts. But she is a really nice dog. Let me think. I don't know. There's just so many dogs, and when you go from Virginia to the Carolinas to Tennessee to Michigan, Indiana, I've been to Missouri. It's hard to remember all the good ones. I'll tell you that.
Oh, and there's a pile of them out there too. There's
definitely, and I primarily only run UKC. I do run Little Pack. I do run ABC, PKC a little bit, but it's just crazy to me how many good dogs are in those formats as well.
So, do you consider yourself more of a gun hunter or a competition hunter?
Well, I've not shot a rabbit in rabbit season for probably going on 3 years now. So, probably just a competition hunter. Okay. We do go. Last year was mine and my dad's first year going, but we go to Michigan hare hunting. Kind of going to make it an annual thing where we're going to go every year. We go with Justin. Now we will shoot him when we go do that, but primarily just a competition hunter.
Well, as you've been competition hunting, you've been doing it for a while. I imagine you carry the scorecard sometimes and know how important it is to have a good judge. Who's maybe one of your favorite judges out there that you know when you pull out with their cast, it's going to be done right, and maybe you could learn something from them?
Honestly, I really haven't had the scorecard until some last year, and then more into this year. I've had it more this year than I have in the past. But I mentioned him at the beginning of this, Winnie Sennett.
Okay.
And he, like I said, he just does everything exactly how he wants to be, as cut and dry with it as it can be. And when we started out running, that's who me and Dad were going with. And he's like, "Hey, did that rabbit run a circle?" And I'd be like, and he's like, "That's not what I said. Did it run a circle?" "No." "All right, just say no." You don't have to beat around. "No, it didn't run a circle." "All right, we know what we're doing with that." And I'm like, "Okay, yeah, I get that. That makes a lot of sense." This is one that he quit carrying the scorecard for a few years, but he's back to doing it some now. But John Hill, I have an absolute blast when I am in a cast with John Hill. And it is because we both love to goof off and have a good time. And John Hill can he can mess with you. If he is not the judge and you are, he will mess with you because that man knows things. And he will mess with you, and after he gets done messing with you, he'll tell you, "I was just messing with you. You done it the right way." And you do what you were going to do. But he messes with you. He likes to joke around like that.
I got you.
And honestly, I mean, it just makes you more aware of things, of situations.
Mm-hmm. Well, as you've been around hunting in these hunts, and it's natural to form these rivalries, and maybe some of them are friendly, maybe some of them maybe have a little more edge to them. But is there anybody out there that you like to beat just a little bit more than everybody else?
Well, I think if you run UKC, you're probably going to say this. You're going to probably say this if you're willing to do it, if you've got the guts to say it. And it's not because, for me, it is not because I don't like any of them, because I like them all. I get along with them all. But the team heat them up.
Mm.
I love to try to beat them. And does it happen? No, not always. But when I beat one of them, I feel accomplished, because in the past few years, they have won a lot of stuff. I think they've had every junior national champion in UKC since it become, since 23 maybe. Mm-hmm. They've won registered, they've won the grands, they've won it all. And they have really good dogs. And they promote their dogs really, really well. But I guess that's why, I don't know. I guess that's why I like to beat them, because when you beat them, you beat a good dog.
Hey, to be the best, you got to beat the best, right? So,
and I hate to say that, because that makes me bragging on them, but that is the truth. I mean, they have got good dogs, and that is, I mean, if I draw them, I want to beat them.
Well, they do have good dogs, and I don't know how anybody could argue against what you're talking about, making the case against what you're talking about, because you just have to look at the scoreboard. I mean,
that's right.
Yeah. I also heard a long time ago somebody tell me, Sam, everybody's your friend till you start winning. And so I totally get those rivalries and wanting to do really well against the folks that are winning. It's a statement thing for you. It really can be.
And like I said, we do not hate them, so don't think that. But Dad has always made this comment: everybody hates a winner.
Yeah.
Yeah. And by no means do we hate them. But we'd like to beat them.
Yes, of course. I understand that.
And here's the thing. Jason Vandergriff and I, and even his son Devin's going some now, we'll run against each other. He might beat me, I might beat him. And then when it's all said and done with, he'll turn around and say, "Hey, you got any barbecue sauce for sale?" It's not like we hate each other or anything like that. It's just a fun little rivalry.
I don't think of it as hate, really. I think of it more as respect. I think you just respect their record, respect their hounds, and how much they've won.
That's right. They have got stuff figured out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're dialed in, buddy. They are dialed in. Well, if you're out there hunting in these hunts and been in a lot of scoring situations, and if you could add or subtract or modify any existing rule that's out there right now, is there any one that you would work on?
Well, how much time do we have?
As much time as you want, but we make this a two-parter.
No, there are some. I mean, there are a lot of things, and it seems like to me there's a lot of gray areas. And I don't like that. I like for it to be as cut and dry as possible. Mm-hmm. Here's an issue, and everyone's going to know they're going to know they've been in the situation, and that is looking for a hole. That is a topic that everyone talks about, and you're either going to make somebody mad or you're going to make somebody happy, and that is one of those deals where the way I interpret it, I'm pretty sure it says at the end of each track, you are to look and verify for a hole. Mm-hmm. So if your dog barks 3 times and you want to look for a hole, I mean, we'll look for a hole. There's a lot of guys that say, "Hey, that dog just popped off it. There's nothing to look for." And that puts you in a tough position when you're the judge. Mm-hmm. Because you got 2 of them right here saying, "No, minus that dog 100." And you got this guy saying, "Hey, they put a rule in the rules that I am to mark the position on my Garmin where the dog last barked so I can look for a hole." Mm-hmm. And in my opinion, that is pretty well, how do I want to say it? It is pushing for you to look for a hole. Hey, mark the spot the dog last barked. And if we walk down in there and there's a hole, how can I not give it to them?
That's right.
Now, I don't think we should look in a 50-yard radius. I think you should have about 20, 30 feet, something like that, to look. I don't think we should walk all over the place. But that's one of them. And this one should be as easy. This one should be as easy and cut and dry as possible. But UKC put the rule in that the rabbit has to run a circle to be plussed. There's not much more cut and dry. I mean, when you think of a circle, I mean, everybody can imagine that. If they run a straight line and fish hook back at you, I don't like plussing. I'm not going to pluss those because I think of it as a fish hook. And if I think of a fish hook and I think of a circle, those are two pretty big differences. But that right there, that should be as cut and dry as it is. And I feel like that is one that is I don't know what if I want to say manipulated, but that's one that is called different by each judge. And I'll say it. It also depends on where your dog struck in. That has a lot to do on whether it's been a circle or not. But when I try to do that, I don't care whose dog it is. All right, did it run a circle or did it not? But I don't know, and I don't even know how you could fix that rule because it's pretty well cut and dry. I guess it's just enforcing it. And this will probably be a very, very unpopular opinion. But I've run a few different formats, but I like the way PKC does things. As far as the way as your judge is just another cast member, he's pretty much just a scorekeeper. And in UKC, if it's a 2-2 vote, it always sides with the judge. That can be tough right there. Because you know as well as I do, two buddies can get together and things can be made difficult.
Yes. Because
it's always going to side with the judge. But the way PKC does it is, if it's a 2-2 vote, it's just a wash. There's a line drawn through them, marked out. However, it's a wash. That counts for nothing. I think that is a really good deal. I can't think of anything else.
Okay, well, those are all very good things to think about, and I really appreciate you sharing your experience based on hunting in different registries. I think it's interesting to see how they all are very similar in so many ways, very similar, but in other ways they're not. There's some little differences there that are important. Well, let me ask you this. As you've traveled around the country, do you have a favorite part of the country that you like to hunt?
So in my notes here, I wrote Indiana in capital letters.
Well, why Indiana?
I've not been out there a lot, but I really like it. It is flat, pretty flat, and you can go from running a wooded area that has rabbits to running a soybean cornfield to standing in a gravel path, and you don't leave that path because you just dump dogs loose on each side of the road and the rabbits just cross the road left and right. There's just so many different types of hunting there that I have experienced. And they seem like they have tons of rabbits. I've never been to Indiana and not come back with a decent score. They have rabbits, and they do. I think their public land does well with management, maybe. I think there are a lot of people farm the public land out there, so that helps push the rabbits into different pockets, different areas, and it really seems like it helps things.
That's a good answer. That's a good spot too. So, share a favorite hunting memory. And it doesn't have to be competition hunting or a big win, but it could be. But tell us about one of your favorite hunting memories.
Well, it'd have to be. I mean, it would have to be Nationals of this year. To come so close the past 2 years of making the finals and suffering defeat in those 2 years, it was tough. I'm not gonna lie, it was tough. The The first year, Tux looked like $1 million in the semis. He looked really good. And we drove back to wait. This would have been the junior national. We drove back to wait. And we ended up waiting like an hour to hour and a half for the cast to get back. And I don't know what happened, but when I got him out that year, he was on 3 legs.
Oh.
And I told Dad, I said, what do you think? And he said, I don't know. I was like, I'm not going to hurt him. He's young. He's not 2 yet. He's a year old. I was like, I don't want to hurt him and ruin this dog. And he's like, no. He's like, let's just cut him loose. Let's see what happens and go from there. We had no running that year. I think there was 8 minutes left in the hunt, and we decided to move to the spot we were going to run up like the extra 15 minutes because I thought I've got one chance on a 3-legged dog, and that is to maybe get lucky and him get a first strike in these last 8 minutes. And it didn't happen for me. Then last year, like I said, I made the finals in Grands, and that didn't pan out for me. I think I ended up taking 4th. I was sitting in first. I think I was up by 5 points with like 4 minutes and 50 seconds left in the hunt. And, of course, that hard-headed dog of mine who wants to be by himself, he went to the right, and the other 3 dogs went to the left, and that's where the rabbit was.
Yeah.
And he got to them. Like I said, he's hard-headed. He wants to find his own rabbit. I think he struck in with like 30 seconds left in the hunt, so that caused me to get 4th. That was tough. But then this year, it's Wyatt Elias. He said, hey, this is your time. And I said, nah. I said, you're funny. I said, you're just messing with me. He said, no. He said, you've been there twice. He said, I feel like this is your year. He's like, I think you can do it. And we got fortunate enough to do it. The only thing, everything about Nationals this year was great, but one thing. And my dad went to my brother's with my mom to help babysit my niece and nephew. And he was not there for it. Uh-huh. He's been there for all the rest of them, and he wasn't there for that one. That was tough on me. Scotty Miller, one of the teammates, Scotty went out with me. So I did have, and Caleb Burdett, he rode out with me. But both of those guys were there, and they got to kind of experience it with me. Caleb, he still laughs every time he sees me and asks me if I've calmed down yet. Jacob Coons, he asked me, he said many times, he said, hey, are we going to have to get a AED out here for you to get your heart back in rhythm? And I'm like, if somebody had one, we could probably use it.
Well, that's a terrific memory. You can't really beat that. That sounds really like I'd remember that if I ever got so lucky. That's a terrific honor.
This was the most difficult thing. And you would think this would be the easiest thing to do, but this was the hardest thing to do. As we're filling the scorecard out, everyone's congratulating me, and of course I'm like, let's not do that yet, because everybody jokes, like John Hill, we joke all the time, 5 minutes left in the hunt and they're winning, shake his hand and be like, here, congratulations. Mm-hmm. And then those last 5 minutes go downhill for you. Mm-hmm. So I'm just like, okay, let's not do that. Well, we figure the scorecard out and everything, and we're all standing there shaking hands. We're doing all that. And Jacob Coons was one of the non-hunting judges. And I looked at him and I said, hey, can I step around out over here and call my dad? And he said, I don't know why you couldn't. I said, well, I don't know. You think it's all right? He said, I've called him every time, which Jacob Coons has won the world hunt twice. Mm-hmm. And he said both times that he won, he snuck off and called his dad. I said, well, all right, I'm going to sneak off then. And I snuck off and made the phone call. And the first 30 seconds of that phone call, there were no words said because I couldn't get anything to come out. Oh. Well, of course, they think they're on their way home from Blacksburg. They think that I've wrecked. And finally, I get to where I can talk, and I'm like, I didn't wreck. And Dad's like, well, what do you want? I'm like, we won. And he's like, do what? I was like, we won. He's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, we touched just won nationals. And he's like, no way. And I'm like, yes way. And he's like, are you kidding? And we talked for just a minute. I mean, this minute conversation felt like I held Scotty and them up for 30 minutes. And of course he's like, hey, because my dad shows no emotion whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you don't show emotion. So he's like, you need to get yourself together before you walk up there to where people are going to see you. And I'm like, I'm trying. And he's like, well, all right. He's like, take a deep breath and pull it together. He's like, you can call me on your way home.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, all right. So of course I had to take a deep breath and call him back later. But that phone call right there was a tough one, but it was definitely it felt good to make that phone call.
Well, I don't know how you could come up with a more memorable hunt than that. That's pretty special. That's a good one, and we appreciate you sharing that with us. But let me switch it over to a little different kind of hunt. If you've been out there and you've hunted as much as you have, crazy things happen. I mean, weird stuff can happen during a hunt. What's the craziest thing you've ever seen while you've been out hunting?
So where we hunt, we have a lot of black bear.
Mm.
It is nothing for us to get done hunting and come up and walk by a mud hole to let the dogs get a drink and see bear tracks in that mud hole. And it's like, man, we've been here for like 2 hours. And I have not seen a bear, but there's bear tracks all through these mud holes. And those things just lay in there. And the dogs get to run the rabbits and just push those bear up out of there. And to me, that's crazy that a bear will lay there like that. I know Dad has had the bears walk along the road behind him, trying to come down into the clear cuts where the dogs are running. Mm-hmm. And we'll run them off as long as we can, and finally they'll just work down the road farther and then cut down in. And when they do that, it's like, all right, it's time to catch dogs. And we are not one for shocking dogs off of a rabbit,
right,
at all. But when a situation like that happens where the bear acts like it's wanting down in there where the dogs are, sometimes you've got to make them do something that they didn't want to do, and you got to make them come to you, because it's not worth having them killed over something like that.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Well, I tell you what, there's a few black bears around where I live, but not a whole lot. And it seems like it's in North Carolina anyway. They're kind of on the ends of the state, so they're up in the mountains and then down at the beach too. Quite a few, some really nice bear taken down there.
Now we don't have overly big bear.
Mm-hmm.
We are starting to get more, but they're not overly big. And actually, the surrounding counties where I live, you can actually kill bear off of with dogs.
Mm-hmm.
But Calhoun County is not one of those counties for some reason. You can't kill them off a dog in Calhoun.
Well, I want to ask you kind of an opinion question. And if I were going to Vegas and I need to put all my money on one dog to win the World Hunt, who's got the hottest dog in the country right now? And we'll talk about the UKC World Hunt right now. But who's got the hottest dog in the country that you think has the best chance to win the World Hunt this year?
Well, like I mentioned it earlier, I've not seen this dog run, but the Heat 'em Up Cyanide, the Cindy dog. Mm-hmm. If I was gonna put my money on a dog, I would put it on that one. She's young. I don't know if she's I don't know if she's 2 years old yet. Mm-hmm. But she wins, and I don't know how you couldn't go with that dog. That one, it would be a tough decision, because you got the Butler's Nova dog and the Jody B dog. Nate, he won the Clash of Champions this year with the Nova dog. So both of them dogs right there, it would be hard to not bet on one of them dogs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are good bets. There's just a few more questions as we wrap up. I want to be good about your time. Why do you love this so much? What keeps you going back? You're a dedicated guy. You're talking about getting up at 3 a.m. and hunting a little bit, and then coming home after you work all day and hunting some more, getting a dog ready for the McVeigh hunt. What keeps you going back? Why do you love this so much?
this is gonna sound corny, I guess you could say, but I like spending the time with the dogs. Tux, he's my buddy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't like for a dog to jump on you. I don't want a dog to lick you in the face, stuff like that. But when I pick him up, if he wants to lick me in the face, I just deal with it and then put him in the dog box. I don't care. I've heard people say this. You've got to like the dogs that you've got.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy spending time out there with the dogs. I don't know what it is about it. It's peaceful sitting out there by myself, listening to the dogs run.
I think
the competition side of things.
Mm-hmm.
I played sports all throughout school. I'm 34 years old now. It's not like I'm playing any sports now. I guess this is the closest to competing at something that I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm.
I like the competition factor of things, and I want to be. When you talked about the dedication of getting up at 3:30 in the morning, 3:30 in the morning, going working all day, running. I'm not gonna lie. I want to be the best. I want to have the best dogs. I don't like to lose. No one likes to lose. I'm not one of those guys that's going to get mad over losing, but I like to win. I don't want to lose. And if getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning and turning dogs loose and coming back and working 10 hours and then turning them loose that evening again and just getting a few hours of sleep each night for a month, if that's what I got to do, that's what I'm going to do.
Jacob, I have no doubt that you want to be the best. I think I heard some wise old man say one time that winners do the things that losers don't want to do. Getting up that early and at night, I mean, that's serious dedication. I mean, you have to really have a drive that's on a whole nother level to pull that off. So, yeah, it does not surprise me that that's driven by that competition that's built into you, that competitive nature that you have. Yeah, I totally get that by just talking to you today. Well, let me ask you this, too. As you look into your crystal ball and look ahead, what's maybe one of the biggest challenges for future hunters?
Earlier today, I looked at that question and I thought about that. I don't know about where you're at in North Carolina, but up here, it would be the loss of hunting grounds.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody wants to kill a monster buck, and they think that these dogs are going to keep them from that. I am very fortunate that the guys that we are in hunt leases with, they are all deer hunters, and they completely understand that our dogs are not going to follow their deer. But you would not believe the amount of people that move in from out of state that are scared to death that our Beagle running a rabbit is going to run off their 6-point buck.
Mm-hmm.
And I am afraid that it is going to get to the point where you're not going to be able to hunt. It's going to be hard to find any private places to hunt. And our public ground, that the state bought a bunch of public ground a few years back, and it's all big timber. There's just not much rabbit hunting there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just going to, if things don't change, it's going to be tough. I would love for this, which it's difficult because of the hills. Everything's too steep. But I'd love for the state to clear cut a lot of the public ground.
Mm-hmm.
And then within a few years, that those clear cuts will be great for rabbit hunting. But that's one of those things that I'm afraid the deer hunting is going to take away from future houndsmen.
Mm-hmm. That's a good answer, and I think people all over the country, including here where I live, run into the same challenge. If you were giving advice to someone thinking about getting into rabbit hunting and really doesn't know a whole lot about rabbit hunting, what kind of advice would you give them?
So I'll have two different answers here. Mm-hmm. If you're just wanting to, for those people that are just wanting to get a dog to start just rabbit hunting for fun, you've got to find a dog you like. It's got to be something that you like, that you enjoy to listen to. Some people absolutely hate to hear a chop-mouthed dog. Some people like it. I don't care either way. But you've got to find something that you like and Because if you start out with a dog you hate, you're not going to enjoy anything about it. Now, on the competition side of things, a person needs to start out with an average to below average dog. Because if you go in with a good dog, it's going to be tough on you. If you start out with a dog that's just average, mediocre, people are going to teach you stuff. You're going to learn. Well, when I started out, I had a dog that was not, she was not good. She was not good at all. I'm not going to lie to you. She was not good for competition hunting.
Mm-hmm.
But those guys took the time to teach me the rules because they didn't have to worry about me beating them.
I got you.
I was no threat whatsoever to them unless I got extremely, extremely lucky. But I was no threat. So they had the time to teach me the rules and stuff like that. But if you start out with a good dog and you're a threat right off the bat, mm-hmm. It's going to be hard to learn the rules without just sitting there and reading the rule book over and over and over and over.
That was not the answer I expected, but I totally get it. I totally understand that.
Well, I do have one other thing wrote down, and it says pick the right mentor is what I wrote down.
Oh, yeah.
You've got to find somebody that's going to steer you in the right direction. You need to get somebody like the Winnie Senate that I talked about earlier that's going to be honest. Justin Schaefer. You got to get somebody like that. Keaton, Scotty, my dad. You need somebody like that that's going to point you in the right direction, because you can be led the wrong way and get a name for yourself really, really quick. And that's just not something that you want to get started.
Mm-hmm. Terrific answer. Jacob, as we wrap up, is there anything that I didn't ask you about that I should have, or is there anything else you want to cover or promote?
The only thing is, there's a lot of people feed different dog foods. I'm not sponsored by them or anything like that, but the Inukshuk dog food mm-hmm. is the best dog food I've ever fed. We have fed other things. We fed Pride for several years, and we fed other stuff, but the Inukshuk dog food we have fed, and it does a tremendous job. The amount of feed you have to feed to keep one going is unreal, and it makes them. Their coats are shiny. It does amazing. Like I told you earlier, when I'm running them through 2 days, mm-hmm. My Tuck's dog, he's a big dog. He's a full 15-inch dog. He's 15 inches. Big, nice, muscled up, chested dog. When I'm running him through 2 days, I'll feed him 1.25 cups of dog food.
Wow.
And it doesn't, and that is it. Sometimes, if it's really, really hard on him, I might have to give him a wee little bit more. Mm-hmm. But pretty close to 1.25 cups, 1.5 cups is all I have to give him during that. All other times of the year, when I'm running, it's 1 cup of dog food. Now this month here, I'm only running him about every other day because it's been hot. So I'm actually got him back down to about 3/4 cup of dog food. But it's amazing food. It is hard. I'm not gonna lie. It is hard to come by. It is hard to get. Mm-hmm. There's a guy up our way, Logan Hamilton. He sells it, but it is difficult to get. But it's amazing food.
Hey, the folks that I know that feed it they're really into it. They're all in for a lot of the reasons that you went over. But people don't think about it when you're feeding that small amount. A little, it's less cleanup. But you also, I had a guy tell me I can be at a hunt and I can tell you whose dogs are eating well. I can look at their coats and their eyes and their gums, whatever, and tell you who's feeding good quality food.
One of the other things, and this is something that I think that everyone overlooks, but if it wasn't for the landowners that allow us to run our dogs at these competition hunts and any other time of the year to train, if it wasn't for those guys that allow us on their property, we would not have the sport that we have now. And I don't know what other people do, but I do know, well, this year at Nationals it was a little different. But every year in the past, I get extra. If I can get an extra hat or two, I take those hats and I give them to the landowner. give a hat or two to the landowner, just to be like, hey, got this weekend. Just want to show you my appreciation for letting me train my dogs here, for letting me be around, stuff like that. That's a big thing.
Well, I appreciate you bringing that up about the landowners because I think they're often overlooked and critical.
I would agree with that completely.
Yeah, and critical to us having spots to hunt. And, put them on your Christmas card list. Let them know that you appreciate them opening up their spots for you to enjoy. That's good advice. Right. Good advice. Well, I do. Did you have anything else, Jacob?
The only other thing is neither one of us, Keaton or I, and even Scotty, none of us right now, we're not really out promoting our male dogs. Mm-hmm. But that is something that I would talk about. We've got Tux, that's my dog. We've got Boomer. Keaton runs Boomer. Mm-hmm. And Scotty's got a young dog named Rip. All of those dogs are amazing male dogs. Hunt. They all will hunt, and they've all got some speed. Like I said, we're not out pushing them on people or anything like that. But if anybody ever was interested in any of those, Tux and Boomer are litter mates. Like I said, Tux won nationals this year. He is now over 50 cast wins, so would be UKC Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. And then I just lack a few points of being NHBA Hall of Fame with him. Keaton's Boomer dog, like I said, him and Tux are litter mates. Keaton got second in the world with Boomer as a 2-year-old. These dogs, they've got that independent hunt that everybody looks for. Everybody talks about they want an independent hunting dog. Well, we've got two males. We've got two males right here with them too. Scotty's dog, like I said, I'm not sure the breeding on Scotty's dog. I've got the papers here, but I don't know where they're at. But Scotty's dog, man, he is a nice big 15-inch dog. And that sucker right there will hunt. He's going to go find you a rabbit too. Other than that, I can't think of anything else.
Well, Jacob, how do people find you? I mean, if they are interested in talking about using your dogs as a stud or getting in contact with these other guys, I mean, how do they find you? Is that are you on Facebook or how do they find you?
I have Facebook, and it's just Jacob Haught. And honestly, a lot of people get a hold of Justin about it, and then Justin sends them my way. But any of those dogs that have been mentioned, if anybody is interested, they can reach out to me. I can get you set up with whoever you need to talk to, wherever the dog is at the time, because it's truly hard to tell. It could be any of those dogs could be at anybody's house. It's hard to tell where they might be at. But if anybody is interested in them, they can get a hold of me on Facebook. Or listen, if anybody sees us at a hunt and wants to talk about it, come up and talk to one of us. Mm-hmm. Well, none of the guys that I mentioned are shy. I can tell you that.
Well, Jacob, as we wrap up, I've got a wild card question for you, one that you're not prepared for. So, all right. So get ready. This is going to be good. All right. If people that are listening, some of them are going to be competition hunters, some of them are going to have been to hunts that you've been at, and they're like, man, that name sounds familiar, but I cannot place him. One thing, they may not know Jacob Haught, but I tell you what, they probably know your beard. Because you have a long red beard. How long is your beard? Have you ever measured your beard?
I haven't measured it in a long time, and actually, about a month ago, I just went and had about 3 inches cut off of it.
Oh wow! So, your summer cut.
Yeah, tried to trim it down. It's probably still 8 inches long or longer. But that a lot, and honestly, a lot of guys will be like, "Hey, there's Redbeard," and I'm like, "Yeah." And I'm perfectly fine with that. There's another thing, and not as much spread out all over the country, but locally, like in Pennsylvania and stuff like that, and down here in West Virginia, barbecue sauce. I make my own homemade barbecue sauce, and that's a lot of guys are all about that. And it's hard to keep it in stock. I can't keep up with it. I can tell you that. Like I said, we make it all here, but yeah, that's another thing. Like, yep, there's Redbeard. He's got his barbecue sauce.
Redbeard and barbecue sauce.
It's called Redbeard barbecue sauce.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Well, I cannot thank you enough for coming on. I've certainly learned a lot today and really appreciate you coming on, sharing your story, talking to us about your dog and your kennel partners and just all kinds of topics and educating us on a few things. But I really appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much, Jacob.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you for listening to Buff in the Rough. Remember to like and subscribe if you want to be notified when new content is available. And please send comments and suggestions to buffintherough@gmail.com.